Purchase the whole ball of wax now through the end of August and receive one free LAL 2022 admission, a $197 value. When you buy the whole ball of wax, you will automatically be registered for the event. No additional steps required. Law Entrepreneur Academy Live is the event to take your company to new heights as you learn from industry leaders at this amazing one-day event. Act now. This free ticket offer to LAL 2022 and purchasing the whole ball of wax won't last forever. Go all in today and secure your seat for the industry's best in-person training conference in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 12th. The whole ball of wax includes all the training programs, documents, resources, and postcard designs at thelaunchpreneuracademy.com and the ticket to LAL 2022. This deal ends August 31st, so don't delay. Tickets to the event can be purchased separately from the whole ball of wax promotion.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, guys, you guys know that we have been just on a tirade of having so many great guest interviews, and I think I'm finally having some revenge from when I was actually sick for a couple weeks and I couldn't get anybody on the show because my voice was completely shot. But today we have another great guest. I have so many of you guys that have been reaching out through Instagram. You guys are watching the Teenager Tour series, and just outside of that, you guys have been reaching out and saying, hey, I got a cool story. And if you do, shoot me a couple DMs on Instagram, shoot me a couple paragraphs, and let's talk back and forth, see if it makes sense to get you on the show, which most of the time it does. But today, we're hanging out with my friend Alden Hall. He's over in beautiful Huntsville, Alabama. So, Alden, good morning, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good morning, Brian. I'm doing great. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Absolutely, man. Well, before we hit record, we were just getting to know each other a little bit more. And man, you have a great story and you have some really good things going on. And I think a lot of people are going to be really excited to hear what you have to say and hear about your story. So really quick, before we jump into it, I always kind of try to give people a little context here of like who our guests are. So could you give these guys maybe a minute or two, little synopsis about who you are, your background, what you do for a living, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, sir. So my name is Alden Hall. I live in Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm the owner of Alden Hall Landscaping. I just turned 19 years old, and I've had my business license since I turned 16. And so right now I'm in college full-time. I'm about to be starting my sophomore year, but I've always had, since my last couple years of high school, I've had this business as a side hustle. And really, I do college on the side because the business takes more time than that does.
Oh, yeah.
But I've always been a hustler, working for neighbors and grandparents and friends from church. Before I could drive, there are pictures of me pushing the fertilizer and seed around the yard, 10 and 11 years old, and power washing, stuff like that. But really, it kind of started taking off. Neighbors would get me to mow for them and do chores for them and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. So we live on a private road, so it's perfect. Anybody that needs something, they know who to call. And so I really learned a lot from working for my neighbors and friends, and they gave me a lot of good opportunities.
Yeah.
So a few of them actually, gave me a key to their mower when I was 12, 13, 11, and they'd say, we're going out of town for 3 weeks, keep our yard looking good, and we'll settle up when we get back. And so that was really cool. And, I was getting $100 bills as a 12-year-old. So that's kind of what got me hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
What got me hooked.
Were you, well, I was going to say, do you guys have like a more just, simple growing up and had to work for it? Or it seems like you guys are a little bit more rural, maybe environment, or how's like living
so
area?
We're in the suburbs of Huntsville. It's
Okay.
actually called Monrovia. So we're not downtown, but we're also not out in the country.
Right.
So we're 15 minutes to anywhere in Huntsville.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really a perfect location.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I see on your Instagram, I was going back earlier before we jumped on the podcast, and I see a bunch of like 4-wheelers and side-by-sides and just all the toys, and
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that for a minute. Are you guys outdoor enthusiasts or what?
So I am for sure. That's what, starting out, that was my motivation to get out there and make some money, is that I've always been fascinated by everything on wheels. Mm. And so I always wanted the fastest dirt bike or 4-wheeler, biggest RZR I could afford. So that's really what got me going in business. But we do have a little bit of land around here that we can ride on, and it's all kind of family owned out here, so everybody will let you rip around if you've got something to ride.
That's awesome. So. That's awesome. Yeah, that's add like you said, a beefy motor and 4 wheels to any toy out there for a 10, 12, 14, 16-year-old boy, and it's game over, So it's
right.
I was just hanging with a friend of mine, Ethan Hammond. He's got a business over here in the Lansing area, and he just bought I don't know the model, but a Honda 250 something. And it's a dirt bike. And I said, hey, it looked brand new. I said, hey, is this new? And he like smiled ear to ear. And he said, this is one of the rewards of the business this year. And it's a brand new dirt bike. And he's like, you want to ride it? I'm like, dude, if I knew how, I would 100%. But I don't know how to work a dirt bike or a clutch on that. So, but now that's on my homework to-do list, is to be able to do that and maybe buy something fun, one day when we're living on our property full time. So, yeah, man, that's awesome. Good for you. Well, I can see the motivation and the hustle. Here's what we're going to do. I want to hear the rest of your story. We're going to kind of press in. I want to hear how the business went from, mowing the neighbors and this being a fun thing to do and, make some cash as a teenager to starting a business. And you guys got a bunch of great stuff going on. And it's a lot to manage a small business while also being full-time in college. So we're going to do a quick commercial break, hear a little bit more from today's show sponsors and announcements. And then, guys, if you hang tight, we're going to hear a little bit more from Alden Hall down there in beautiful Huntsville, Alabama. Hang tight.
Lawns, landscaping, and outdoor awesomeness. That's what your business does best. Managing your vehicles and optimizing efficiency with the latest technology is what we do best. GPS Track It provides a 24/7 view of where your company vehicles are and how efficiently they're operating, saving you time and money. With more than 12,000 customers, GPS Track It has delivered peace of mind for lawn and landscaping companies for 20 years. Ready to protect your vehicles and save money? Talk with one of our fleet advisors. There's no pressure, no hassles. Call 833-385-0252 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to learn more. Those details are in the show notes. GPS Track It.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump right back into it. Always appreciate the show sponsors, the show announcements, and Mr. Producer bringing the heat. So really quick, guys, we're going to let you know a quick update. Launchpreneur Academy Live 2022 ticket sales are going phenomenally well. I just wanted to bake this in here really quick. If you guys have not got your ticket, do me a solid and go check out launchpreneuracademy.com/store and pick up your ticket today. We got about 75 registrations that have already been locked down, at least at the time of this recording, which is going to come out in a couple weeks later. So we might have even more than that. We can't wait to see you guys up here in Novi, Michigan. So also, Equip Expo ticket sales are going really well. You guys can save 50% with promo code Brian at checkout. All right, well, Alden, let's go back to you, my friend. So you're buying the toys, or not buying the toys, but you're riding the toys, you're mowing some grass, you're having fun doing the deal, and then did you? After what was the story? Like you're maybe mowing a neighbor's lawn or something, and they give you $30, and you're like, "Hey, I can make a business out of this." Or what were you thinking getting the business started?
Yes, sir. So I had probably about 3 yards on my street that I was doing, and then also mowing for my grandparents occasionally and doing our own yard. Mm-hmm. And I was enjoying it, and I was making good money for my age. But it really took off in another direction for a few years. My granddaddy and I built a green egg table for his smoker. I don't know if you're familiar with those. Yep. The smokers for barbecuing and stuff like that. Kamado Joe's is kind of the same thing.
I've heard of them.
And so yes, sir. We built one for him just out of scrap wood. I think I was 13 at the time, and it turned out great. We stained it, got it looking good, and he loved it. And we decided that there might be a market for it. It's just a little table on wheels that's kind of dressed up, and the smoker sits down in it, and so you have a tabletop around your grill.
Okay.
And a bottom shelf on it. And so we decided there might be a market for it. And so we posted it on Craigslist. And then I'm not sure if Marketplace was around or I was able to get on it then, but definitely on Craigslist and then Marketplace later. And they started selling like crazy. So I was building them after school and on the weekends. And I actually talked my dad. You know, I was just 13. I couldn't drive, but I talked him into letting me install a hitch on his SUV so I could make deliveries.
Okay.
And so I installed a hitch on his little SUV, and then got me a Harbor Freight special trailer. And me and Granddaddy were making deliveries within probably about 75 miles of Huntsville.
Okay.
All over the place. And then from that, I kind of got into some other outdoor living type little building projects that I was custom building for people and delivering, like raised garden beds with trellises on them and stuff like that. I've sold hundreds of those.
Wow.
But Nashville, Birmingham, and all around Huntsville. And so that business has continued all the way up until now. But the more on grass cutting and landscaping and stuff like that.
Well, hold on. Let me pause you really quick, because that's already a really cool story. I mean, you're 13, 14, 15 years old, probably, right? Making these things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What was the entrepreneurial motivation like that? I just think that's fascinating. Not every kid's 13, 14, 15 doing this kind of stuff. By the way, if you lived within 30 miles of us, we would buy some raised garden beds, because Liz wants to, even at our apartment, she wants to have like a little outdoor urban farm, you know. And I'm like, Liz, I don't think the management people here are gonna like that. But at the future property, she wants raised garden beds and a little greenhouse thing, and I'm gonna give her the world, because she's been putting up with my butt forever. And being patient as I spin the dream and get this whole thing moving. But what was your motivation with the raised garden beds and the grill tabletops that you were making? Was it just like making money, and you were just enjoyed solving people's problems? I mean, it had to be a fun, exciting thing to sell over 100 of these things, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, I really was. Well, first, I was just building them for myself or for family members and stuff like that, just to see if I could do it.
Sure.
And so I actually built the first raised garden bed for me, and it turned out really good. And we got it stained real nice. And I was like, well, I might as well list this too, because I enjoyed building them. And I was starting to grow my tool collection a little bit more, my woodworking tools and stuff like that. I had a trailer and my dad's SUV I could make deliveries with. And so I listed those, and they really took off the most, because everybody needs a little garden out back wherever they live.
Oh yeah. So. They're all of our residential customers we have. I'll tell you, one in 8 of them have a little raised garden bed thing on a little wagon, and some of them are, I don't know, 2 foot by 3 foot. And then some people have these big ones, 4 foot by 5 foot, triple sides. These things are heavy, especially when you put, soil and all that stuff in them to grow some things. So what were you making? Maybe there's a 13, 15, 18-year-old kid that's out there trying to get some seed money. What were you making these things for back in the day? And what were you selling them for? Just out of curiosity.
So I tried to, I've got several different sizes that I offer. And of course I'll do custom builds. But actually the biggest one I've done, I delivered 4 of them that were, I think, 6 foot by 16 foot, which is huge. That's like the size of a big trailer.
Yeah, that's huge.
And
wow.
Yes, so those were pretty high. But my normal sizes are like 2 by 4, 4 by 4, 4 by 6, 6 by 6, and those range from $140 to about $220. And I'd say half of it's profit.
Wow. Wow.
So,
are those on wheels, or just like 4x4 kind of post frame, like kind of on stilts, or?
No, they don't have a bottom in them. It's just a cedar frame, and it has pine trim, and they just set them on the ground, maybe put some landscape fabric over the grass, and then fill them up with dirt.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm telling you, I literally, I have 2 customers. One's Gordon, and one of the guys named Gordon. He's got bunch of garden beds in his backyard, and he's always like, hey, don't hit anything that falls over, like just bushes over, like the tomato plants. And then another lady, Dawn, she has, my gosh, like she's like, anything you see in there that you want that looks ripe, you can pick it. And I'm like, and my wife's like, get some strawberries or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not picking this lady's stuff. You know what I mean? But she's super kind, super generous, but same thing. It's fun and cool, but all the stuff like drapes over the side, and she has like these huge eggplants that are like laying on the ground. And, I'm like telling the guys not to whip it, and splice it or cut it, obviously. But, in the fall, it's kind of weird because they pull all the plants and they got this huge like compost pile going on, and I'm like, can you clean that up so my guys and I don't like smack some old mushroom plants or I don't even know, whatever, It's just like it's kind of gross, but that's just gardening, and you guys know how it goes. But dude, that is so cool. Like, I mean, there's so many people that listen to the show, younger kids for sure that listen to the show. They're 10, 12, 14. I know the other half is my 18 to 35 guys like myself. But there's a lot of young guys that are like, they're trying to figure out how to buy a trimmer or a blower. Maybe you can't cut grass after 8 o'clock because it's getting late, but you can at least woodwork in your parents' garage or shed. And like you said, make 1 or 2 of these things a week and list them on Facebook. I know every single person that's 50 years old or above and has any type of property, they want to have a little garden. And so I know it's not a whole podcast about the garden and bed maintenance, the garden thing, but in the raised garden beds. But at the same point, make an extra. How long would it take to make one of these things, and then how long did it take to list it and sell it? Do you think was it a pretty quick turnaround?
Yes, sir. So it used to take me probably about an hour. But I've gotten it down to the standard sizes. I can build one of those in 30 minutes from start to finish if I've got the material sitting there.
Wow.
And, when you're selling them for $140, $180, $200 and half that's profit in 30 minutes, that's not bad for a little guy.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Maybe I'll make my wife's she shed a little bit better, and she can start hustling these things on the side. So,
yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
She can sell garden bed templates and designs and product, and then she can also sell eggs at her curbside chicken coop stand thing. She wants to have an egg thing, and $2 a dozen or whatever it is, or maybe with inflation it'll be $10 a dozen, because gosh knows it's kind of getting there right now. But anyway. So you took all this hustle and this excitement and even some of the profit, and then did you decide to start getting more into lawn care landscaping, because you said you had the trailer, your grandparents were driving you around and helping you deliver some of this stuff. So what was the next thought about growing into a lawn care business?
So I was mainly just doing the building and then mowing for people right around me.
Okay.
Until I turned 16. And then I got 2015 F-150 Lariat, which has been my workhorse. And so then I was borrowing a neighbor's trailer when I turned 16 and had a truck, and just loading up our mower and heading out to neighborhoods around here. Okay. And I actually got an ad on an HOA Facebook page, and immediately I had 15 yards my first season there.
Whoa.
So,
whoa. Mm-hmm. How did that work? So you saw an ad on an HOA page?
So I got an ad on there of me for my business. And so I right around 13 or 14 yards in that one neighborhood.
Wow.
At my first season.
Did you get like 1 or 2 and then that turned into 13? Or was it just like somebody else was in there, maybe they quit, and then 13 people like threw up their hands and like, we need somebody now, and you just perfect timing? Or what do you think?
There were a few perfect timings, and then it was just people that, the week after and the week after, I'd get a couple, and then they were telling their friends, and people liked my work. And so I'd say by the middle of the season, I had 15.
Wow, that's actually really, really good. And you were 16 years old at that time?
Yes, and I had just gotten my business license then, and insurance and the whole deal, and started having expenses. And then I would also. I got my business license so that I could co-op in high school.
Okay.
So I think it was my junior year. And so I could leave fourth block, head out and go make some money.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I hear that story 100 times before, and I'm always so jealous because that was presented as an option in school back in the day when I was in high school, and I just didn't know. Nobody sat me down and said, "Hey, you can get out at 1 or 2 o'clock, go to the vocational tech school or whatever, or go home and go work." And I was like, "Gosh, that would have been a perfect fit for me, or a better fit than me sitting around at school for 3 more hours staring at the clock or trying to take a nap." I always joke. I thought I almost came out of school like Indian, if you will, with a little red thing in the middle of my forehead because I had like a permanent red mark because I slept all through high school. So that's a bad joke. Everybody listening, relax. But that's funny right there. That's funny right there. Any which way, I've got these really bad jokes, and can't say them publicly, but I can put it on my own podcast and then cancel myself. So
that's right. But you can't get canceled. It's your own podcast.
I'm sure somebody will come at me one day with pitchforks, but I don't care. Like I give a crap. So any which way, so now you're got 14, 15 lawns at 16. Where did you decide to grow the business from there? Like, what were you thinking at that time? Like, hey, this is, were you still making the gardens? Were you thinking, hey, 15 lawns is a lot to manage with high school at the same time, and friends and family relationships, girlfriend, sports? Like, what was your life looking like back then?
It was looking pretty busy, but I was mainly focusing on those yards, and I just had what mower we had. I think it was a Craftsman, 42-inch, the Sears Special.
Sure.
So it wasn't anything fancy. So doing 15 yards with that
was tough.
A little bit of a struggle.
Yep.
So I think I put my building business kind of on the back burner, and it was more my fall and winter hustle.
Yep.
I was doing that, when I couldn't cut grass.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But then when I started realizing, by the middle of the season, I had 15 yards and I needed to do something different. I didn't have a ton of money saved up, but I went out and I got a Cub Cadet XT 150. So still a homeowner with a steering wheel, but it was more powerful, wider cut, fabricated steel deck. And so I was all about that then. And then my next purchase, I think toward the end of my first season, I got a 16-foot dovetail trailer, and that's when things started picking up.
Wow. Okay. And then were you pulling that with the F-150 still?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. That's awesome. And what were your parents thinking about you at the time? Were they encouraging? Were they saying, hey, school's the future? Like what were your parents thinking about this? Because sometimes people have an encouraging home situation, and then I just my heart goes out every time I have a lot of younger guys text me and they say, hey, I'm 15, but my parents don't want me to mow grass. They think it's a waste of time or a dumb business. And I'm thinking like, dude, just encourage the freaking kid. Like, I don't know. Maybe the parent's a pilot and is covered in status. I don't know. But I'm like, dude, I know I can introduce you to thousands of people in the green industry that make thousands and thousands of dollars more than any of the best paying careers and jobs and status type people out there. And it just frustrates the snot out of me. So what was your parents' thought process on you and your new business?
Right. They were very supportive. They were cool. Happy for me, and they know that I've always been a worker. So they were happy that it was taking off and working out.
Yeah.
They've always been a little frustrated with their whole garage being taken over and equipment being parked outside and stuff like that. That's a different conversation.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I did an interview with Gabe's Lawn Care. He's a young guy right by me. And at the end of the podcast, he said, hey, shout out to mom and dad that have let me, commandeer half the garage for 3 years, full of trimmers and aerators and blowers, So that's
right.
That's fine. That's that is a funny conversation, but you know what? I don't know if it really ever ends, because I was talking to Blake with B&B Lawn Care. I went to his house, and same thing. Half of his garage is full of Skag 52s and X Mark 60s and aerators and all this other crap too. So I don't think it ever ends. So, but that's why you got to get a pole barn one day. But more on that with you in a minute, because you guys have a beautiful shop that you just got done building, which is just incredible. So, we'll take me through the evolution, man. How did you get from there to here, and where are you guys at today? What's the business look like today?
So after I got the 16-foot trailer that fall, after my first season, I was feeling the first season money burning a hole in my pocket.
Okay.
So I went and back to that dealer that I really like, and my options there are Hustler or Cub Cadet.
Okay.
I ended up going with a prosumer kind of Cub Cadet zero turn. It's a ZTX 448. So it's almost a commercial, but it didn't totally break the bank. It's what I could afford. But it's been an awesome mower. And so I was running that and an older Hustler Fast Track zero turn.
Okay.
So I had two on my big trailer. And then start of my second season, I started accepting more customers because I kind of had the equipment for it now. I had 2 zero turns. And my second season, I ended up with 22 at the beginning and finished with maybe 25 yards that year.
Wow.
And so that was getting to where it was all that one man could do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. And then were you mowing these on the weekends or after school, a couple every day after school, or what? How'd you have your route set up?
Yeah, I would do, so I actually had some that were close to the school. So, I'd pull my trailer up there a few days a week to school.
That's awesome.
And take up 3 parking places and try and not get in trouble, and then head out. And I'd do about 3 after school. And then, you gotta do a lot on the weekends when you're getting started out and you got other stuff going on. So okay, sure. I was a Saturday morning guy and after church on Sunday, getting it done.
That's awesome. Sure. That's awesome. What do you think you were learning, and what have you learned so far, like life skills wise, running a small business? Like, I would imagine learning how to work with cash and collect money and budget and like you said, even work with your time budget. You got to balance family life and church life and friends and if you got a girlfriend or something, like there's a lot of things that you got to manage. What were some takeaways that you feel like you've learned pretty good getting your feet established this last couple of years? Any things that stand out for you?
Yes, for sure. Time management is huge because there's always something that could be done. Like there's always something broken that you could go be working on. There's always bookkeeping you could be doing. Yes, there's always it's like the saying, you start a business so you can work 100 hours a week instead of 40. Yeah. And so time management is a big one. And then also, billing. I'm just a lawn care kid. So we're still doing Venmo, Cash App, check, and cash. So, it is a lot to keep up with to make sure everybody is good and keeping up with that. So, and
that's awesome.
Right. I'd say, and people skills, when you've got 25 customers, that's a lot of text messages and calls coming in. Mm-hmm. And you got to have, you got to develop a lot of people skills to keep everybody on the same page and keep everybody happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is something that outside of running the business and everything you just talked about, which I think is so good, so true, phenomenal, is also working with people. And I just see, you guys listening in, what would you say? Like such a disparity or such a spectrum of like, there's some 16, 17, 18-year-olds I can talk to and have a great conversation with, and they know how to keep the conversation going and show interest, and they're just like you said, have better people skills. And then there's other 16-year-olds that you'll be at Olive Garden and they've got their their Beats by Dre headphones on, and they got their phone out, and they're just isolated and okay, they take the headphones off and then you can just tell they're miserable. They're not interested. They have no people skills. They hey, how's it going? Like, good. And it's like, geez, oh Pete's, man, like that kid given another 5 years is going to be the isolated, whatever. And then, seeing, you Alden over here 5 years from now, you're going to be Mr. People Skills and selling the world and building a successful business. It's just crazy to see all that.
Mm-hmm. It is. I know several people like that in my life, and I try and talk to them, but it's when you develop that and you're closed off in public, it's hard to break it. So I really try and talk to a lot of people and work on that because it's important. I think that'll get you a lot farther in life, even than a fancy degree. I think people with
I agree.
good communication go far.
Yeah, that's one thing that Liz and I have talked about with raising kids, and well, you're not raising kids, you're raising adults. We always say, but they start off as kids, and we always say that we want to make sure that our kids are like socialized. They know how to. It's everything I just talked about. Look people in the eye, have better people skills than their peers, and know how to communicate, and they know how to sell and know how to talk to people and persuade and communicate. And I just think that when you're a business owner, I always say like every business owner is a salesman. Not every salesman is a business owner, but every entrepreneur I know knows how to sell, and how they sell might be different. Doesn't mean you have to be fast talking, fancy schmancy, and all these different techniques. They can just be a great listener, and they're very quiet. They're very stoic. There's a ton of people that are the exact opposite of what I'm describing as you think would be your typical salesperson, right? But they know how to sell their way. But all entrepreneurs know how to sell, and I think that's something you absolutely learn in the green industry is how to sell jobs, how to sell customers, and it happens so fast if you guys think about it, right? Alden, like you're picking up a new customer and you're like, it's like an instant little battle, like a little war, it's like, the skirmish is over in, 90 seconds. Hey, we need lawn service. Okay, our price is 45. Can you do 38? How about no? How about 42? How about 45 or I don't do it? And it's like, this conversation happens in, literally 90 seconds. But then at the same time, you're practicing people skills. No, sir. Yes, sir. And it's like, and then you get off the phone, you close them, you have great people skills, and you're like, you're not going to learn that. Most people don't learn that till they're 25 years old, negotiating for their first job or a pay increase. You know what I mean? For crying out loud. So,
right.
Dude, I think, and by the way, it's so, obvious when I get so many young guys on the show, like yourself and another great kids from, I call you guys kids, but 15 to 20 year olds, and you all know how to talk and communicate and have a conversation. It's wild. So I think what you're doing is awesome, man. So where are you at today? And then where are you taking this thing in the future? So you had the Cub. By the way, how much was that Cub Cadet? Because I'm always asked, like, what's a good entry mower that's like a zero turn, but not, a $15,000 X Mark or Skag. So how much was that Cub, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't. So I think, it's been a couple of years now. I think I was like 6,200 out the door, maybe. Okay. But I also bought like a $900 triple bagger with it, so I can't remember if that was on top of that or that was with it. Okay. But I think it's right around 6,200. That's
totally fair. Yeah, I get a lot of people saying, "Hey, what can I get for $5,000?" And I'm like, I unfortunately I just don't know. I everything that I'm the pay grade we're at, whatever that you guys know what I mean. But all the mowers I'm looking at are $12,000, $14,000, $18,000. It's just what my business runs. I'm not on the come up, with buying a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 mower, and I have 18 lawns. But I'm always trying to ask, what is a good mower, because I want to help those folks out. So that's a really, really good $6,200 is a pretty fair price point. You can do a lot of damage with a mower like that. That's kind of like that entry commercial, high-end residential entry commercial kind of a mower. Do you still have that mower, or have you traded up, or where are you at on that?
Absolutely. It has been great for me. I've not had a single problem with it. I think I'm right at like 220 hours on it now. Wow. And so I've got that, and I've got that old Hustler Fast Track that I use in case I need it. But really, it's been great for my business because it's a money maker, and I don't have a payment.
Wow.
So I don't know what I'm going to get next, but I'm happy with what I've got right now because it's getting the job done, and it cuts good, starts up every time. So who cares? Yeah.
And Cub Cadet makes great product. I mean, I've been able to work with them behind the scenes and even out in front with a bunch of stuff. I think it was back in like 2019 or 2020 or whatever it was. But those guys, they've been making some great product. Henrik Gislason, you guys might have saw the lawn care kid. He bought an X600 or X660, I think it is, 60-inch stand on, if I'm not mistaken, and he loves it. He's like, dude, it's solid. A couple things he doesn't like, but no mower's perfect. But yeah, Cub's been killing. I think, I don't talk revenue numbers, but they were telling me what they're up, and I'm like, I did some videos on YouTube, and then you guys were up, 9 figures. I'm like, hey, see the correlation here? So I don't know. Yeah. I'm just kidding. But,
that's right.
I'm like, that's how it works, man. Don't forget my 1%. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But okay, so where are you guys at today? Is that where you're currently at, like 20 some lawns, or have you grown it since then? And where do you want to take this thing in the future as we kind of button this thing up a little bit?
Yes, sir. So we're at 32 this year. We've got 30 residentials and 2 commercials.
Oh,
and
nice.
This year is the first year that I've got help. So 1 or 2 days a week. I'm solo the rest of the week, but then 1 or 2 days a week on the big days, I've got 2 of my best friends that can come help me, and we get the job done doing, half the route in a couple days. And they've been killing it and doing a great job. So I think 32 right around here, what I've got now is what I want to stick with. And I kind of want to grow in other directions. I've got as many yards as I really want to do right now.
Okay.
And
cool.
So I think the future for me is getting into a little more specialized equipment and, continuing with these yards, but not growing it more than that, because I'm just happy with where I'm at right now. I love seeing all these guys that, they're growing 20 yards a year, but I don't think that's right for me right now, being in college full time. So I kind of want to maintain where I'm at. I'm happy with what I'm making. But I am looking into other equipment to do some different types of jobs on the side.
I dig it. And I see that happen a lot. A lot of guys have their mow route. I'm in that boat, to be honest with you. We have 85 residentials, a dozen commercials and HOAs, and that's a 4-day route. And I'm thinking Friday we do extra stuff, and now we're like, do we want to buy a tractor or a skid steer, or even get into some irrigation work or fertilization work? Those are all conversations I'm constantly having too. But I think that's really, really smart for you to quote unquote like know your limits too, because you don't want to get overwhelmed and have school suffer, if you will, too.
Right.
Yeah. What
you mentioned the tractor and stuff. That's actually what I'm looking for next. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to, I want a compact tractor. I'm looking between like 25 horse and 35 horse that I can still tow around town pretty easy. But I want to do the big mulch jobs and the property cleanups and the garden tilling, driveway maintenance, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That you can get a lot of money in from big jobs like that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Great. I mean, grading dirt roads to, forestry mulching to having a grappler on the front of those things. Dude, you and me both. I'm all ears, If any of you guys have any stuff like things like that, shoot me a DM on Instagram, would you? Because I just saw Mitchell Gordy picked up a new Kubota tractor. He's got a grappler on it. I think I saw was one of the attachments. Henrik that I talked about, the lawn care kid, he was on recently. He has a tractor and he'll grade dirt roads. He lives on a dirt road, and I don't know what he gets for it. Couple $100, I would imagine. And probably takes him 2 hours to do, and that's good money, And if that's like reoccurring revenue that you got to do it, I don't know, once a month for 6 months, right? And it's just you get it and set it and forget it. You just keep making that revenue. So yeah, and then you could get some different implements to mow down big fields and do some brush hogging. That would always be an option. So
absolutely,
dude, good for you, man. What any brand that you're eyeballing or peeking at right now? Like
so yeah, I've got a few. I've looked at the Kubota L2501.
Yep. That's what I'm looking at too.
Yeah, Coyote CK2610 is kind of more in my price range. And then I also sat on and drove a John Deere 3025E, I believe, a couple weeks ago, and got the out the door price on that, and that scared me a little bit. It's coming. It's coming in the next few months.
That's awesome.
But got to put a little more money in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and it seems like you're paying cash for a bunch of stuff too, but you could always get some favorable financing, put $5,000 down, and man, I just think that would be such a revenue generator for you right out of the gate.
Right. You gotta have it to put it to work.
That's right. That's right. That's
for it to pay for itself.
That's right. I mean, my buddy Brett's got a little tractor from Rural King, and it was like $17,000. It's still $17,000, and it's like a little recession-proof tractor. But man, he does so much stuff with that. He got I think a 1-yard bucket that he had like kind of custom fabricated for it, and man, I'm right there with it, man. That's you're getting me all excited about tractors now. So, we'll kind of land the plane here. This was a fun episode, man. By the way, what are you going to school for? Are you going to college right now? You said full time. What are you going to school for?
Yes, sir. I am at UAH. I'm majoring in civil engineering.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
That's kind of why I want to transition into more different kinds of jobs, tractor work and dirt work and stuff like that, because that's more of what I'm going to school for.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
The tractor work would be on a super small scale of that, but I don't know. That's kind of what interests me, and I want to tackle some bigger jobs like that.
That's awesome.
Another thing I wanted to say is everybody asks, why'd you name it Alden Hall Landscaping? You know, you do lawn care. Why'd you name it Alden Hall Landscaping? I named it that so that I knew I wanted to go out into bigger type of jobs, different type of jobs. And I didn't want to be limited by my name or have to change it and make that whole transition whenever I did start doing those different jobs. So
where'd you learn that?
I don't know.
That's good. That's a great thought process at 15 years old, 16 years old, man. That's awesome.
Right. I was like, right now I can afford to cut grass, and that's what I can invest in. But I always knew I wanted a tractor or hopefully a skid steer someday. Mm-hmm. And so I just went ahead and made it a broad name, and people are going to have to deal with it.
Man, that's, yeah. Well, that's okay. But you know what? That's really, really smart. There's not a day or two that goes by that I don't get somebody DMing me, hey, what do you think about my name, or changing my name, or moving my name to this, or starting a business? Here's a couple different options I'm looking at. And it's a really, really important thing to think about, because you just kind of start, you're like, hey, I'm Alden's Lawn Care. You don't really sometimes think it through. And then, like you said, where do you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now? What's like the perfect solution? And you can always change the name. It's not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. It's more tough to change the name when you've got 5 or 10 years of, what would you call, you're just vested in that name in the community. It would be such a dumb idea at this point, arguably, for me to change my name from Brian's Lawn Maintenance. We've been red and black was the color scheme, and we've been in the same community for 17 seasons. If I could keep the color scheme and maybe modify it a little bit, I think it would be an easier pill to swallow for our area. But we're so vested in that. And other people that are just getting started, like, hey, it's Carl's Lawn Care. I'm like, or you can do like Carl Brown. It'd be like KB Site Management. Like that might be better than Carl's Lawn Care. Or whatever. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that on other shows, but that's. Begin with the end in mind is what we always try to encourage. Hey, dude, really quick, before we button up, talk about the pole barn. I totally, I remembered, then I forgot, then I remembered, thank God. But tell a little bit about the pole barn, if you don't mind sharing, because that's, if you guys want to follow Alden here on Instagram, I think you should, because he has this awesome pole barn that they just built on his family's property.
Yes, sir. So that has been a super big dream and goal of mine since I was little. So this past October, so almost a year ago, I signed the contract on a 40 by 40 by 14 foot tall pole barn. It has 2 40 by 14 lean-tos on each side. And so that got built this past spring, and it was just a way for me to, move out of the garage. And I have room for more equipment now. My mowers and trailer have a home. And I've got places to maintain everything, and it's really been great. I'm enjoying it. So that was a dream come true this past year.
Wow! And now, if you don't mind me asking, you can whatever. But are you paying for this? Did you finance it? Like, did you put money down, or is this your parents? Or are you just renting some space? Because a lot of people are going to wonder that question.
Right. This shop is 100% mine. So I was able to save up about, I think it's right around 70% down. And so I was planning on paying for it 100% in full. But once you get in there and you start speccing it out just like you like it, it got a little more expensive.
Oh yeah.
So I think I've got about, I'm financing about 30% at a really good rate for a year or two.
Okay.
And then it'll be done. So I have a payment, that doesn't break the bank, it's not killing me each month, but I was able to get it exactly like I wanted it.
Yeah. Wow. That's really good stuff. I'm telling you, I am going to just go on a mission this next couple months and years, really, just proving to so many people out there that you young guys can do it. You can make money. You can crush it more than anybody could ever imagine. And people are like, oh, there's no way 19-year-old kids are buying pole barns and paying cash or paying 70% cash. And I'm like, dude, you just don't want to work hard. You just don't. And it's no indictment to, a 30-year-old adult outside of our industry that thinks they're working hard in corporate America. But man, I will put your highest performer in corporate America against the handful of 18-year-old kids that I've had on my podcast. And I'll put money on the Aldens of the world all day long. And I'm not just saying that. Like, you guys encourage me. You guys motivate the snot out of me. You guys are kicking butt, man. Like, school, work, running a business, building a pole barn, managing, family relationships. Like, that's a lot. And you guys are some of the best out there, man. Alden, like, I tip my hat to you, my friend. Seriously, like, I'm thankful to call you a friend and having you on the show and getting to learn a little bit from you. And every time I get off the show, Liz is like, how'd the interview go? And I'm like, dude, these kids are killing it. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we need to get moving. And, we're trying to do the same thing you guys are doing. You know how it goes. But you guys just motivate the snot out of me, man. So I just want to say great job and great work out there.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate it. I was super excited to come on the show. So I'm really thankful for the opportunity too.
Absolutely, man. And shout out to your parents if they happen to listen to the show. Keep encouraging the young man and everything he's got going on. And that's just so cool. Hey, we'll do this really quick as we button it up. Two things. Any final things you want to leave these guys? Encouraging word or a nugget of info or whatever, maybe something that's helped you along the way. And then number two, if people want to maybe follow along or follow up with you, are you active on social anywhere? And maybe plug those and we'll button it up.
Sure. I want to say to everybody out there building a business, first of all, put God first in your business and in your relationships, and put Him first, and it will work out better for you. I have seen that in my own life, and I know that's true. And then go out there and build the American dream. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And I think my last thought is. I heard this from a neighbor of mine, and it has really stuck with me. It is, you can't get rich working for somebody else.
Amen to that. Amen. Yep.
So, and then, I am active on Instagram. It's Alden, ALDEN _Hall, HALL. And then, TikTok is the same username if you want to follow me there.
Cool. Okay. Awesome, man. Well, I really encourage you guys to give Alden a follow. He's got some really, really good photos on Instagram. I'll have to check you out on TikTok there, including check out his pole barn and also some of the equipment that he was talking about. He's got some, you just see the progression, you know what I mean? And by the way, you see the progression of the toys too, from the four-wheelers to the side-by-sides to jet skis. I'm like, this kid is, he's got it going on. So good for you, man. All right, guys, we'll button this up here. We really appreciate Alden being on the show. And again, guys, just a quick little housekeeping. Don't forget to get your ticket at launchpreneuracademy.com and then also at Equip Expo. The promo code Brian will save you 50% registering for Equip. So, but beyond that, we always appreciate you guys listening. Thanks so much. The podcast has been going really strong here through the month of July and into August here, guys. The views, the downloads, or whatever we call it, are just through the roof, and we couldn't be more thankful and grateful. So thank you guys for smashing the follow button. Thank you guys for leaving those ratings and reviews. And that's what I got for today's show. We'll kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, guys, and we'll shut this thing down. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Lawns, landscaping, and outdoor awesomeness. That's what your business does best. Managing your vehicles and optimizing efficiency with the latest technology is what we do best. GPS Track It provides a 24/7 view of where your company vehicles are and how efficiently they're operating, saving you time and money. With more than 12,000 customers, GPS Track It has delivered peace of mind for lawn and landscaping companies for 20 years. Ready to protect your vehicles and save money? Talk with one of our fleet advisors. There's no pressure, no hassles. Call 833-385-0252 or visit gpstrackit.com/BrianLM to learn more. Those details are in the show notes. GPS Track It.
Hey guys, it's Ben at True Pro Lawn Works. I just wanted to take a minute to thank Brian and L'Entrepreneur Academy for putting together his residential and commercial service contracts. These have been a game changer for me and my clients in terms of management of expectations, responsibilities, and professional appearance. I get great client feedback about the clear presentation my business extends with these. There's no legalese, no jargon to translate, just clear expectations of both sides. It's plug and play and fully editable. If you're concerned about potential liability or unclear duties, or just want to stand out as a professional, then check out Brian's plug and play documents at l'entrepreneuracademy.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.